Let's see. Kathy Bates was here a couple days ago, and she was talking about Misery. I didn't know you were offered that role.
I was offered that. Yeah, I was, but I think she did a brilliant job. I would have done something probably. She's brilliant. You know, I followed her for, you know, I don't know if you remember this picture called Straight Time. She did it with Dustin Hoffman many, many years ago. It was one of the first pictures she ever did, even though she's a big, big actress in the theater in New York. And I saw her in that, and she was so real that I'd never really seen acting like that. She really impressed me, and I started to follow her career. So I know her work pretty well, and I thought she did a fabulous job. I was afraid. I was too afraid. I thought, what will the fans say? You know, when she cuts off the feet and everything, I was totally appalled, you know.
And it's James Caan, too. You would have gotten...
It was James Caan. My God. I think people would like me to see me cut off somebody's but not necessarily cut off somebody's feet, you know. I mean, 'cause those are the kind of gigs I usually get, you know. Get out the scissors. Come over here, hon. And so, it was a hit, and I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud she got that little statuette. I'm really proud.
Yeah. Speaking of film choices, I've
made some duds, haven't I,
well,
babe?
no, we want to talk about the positive. Let's talk about the positive.
Oh, good.
The future. You've said you'd like to work with Pee Wee Herman and Prince.
Sure.
Let's talk about Pee Wee first. What would you like to do with Pee Wee?
I think maybe a little sex comedy, I think, with Pee Wee. Don't you think that would be funny? He could play sort of like someone who doesn't really want to have sex, and I would be someone who sort of is like really into it, but not with him. You know, like Mae West and W.C. Fields were. Do you remember in My Little Chickadee? He was always after her, and she was always going, out of my way, out of my way. And I never forgot the pairing of those two. I always loved them. And he's perfect for that. He has that aura that everybody... Well, it certainly has been an interesting year for him. My God. It's been an interesting year for all of us.
Yeah, but you're a supporter of Pee Wee, though.
I absolutely am a supporter of Pee Wee. Absolutely. He's a friend of mine. I've known him for a long time. He's got a heart of gold. Really wonderful guy.
It's good. And Prince?
I can't say the same for Prince.
Oh, you
no,
know
actually,
him
I do know him a little bit. I do actually. He probably does have a heart of gold. I don't know him that well. He doesn't talk much, you know. Have you ever had him on your show?
He doesn't talk much.
He doesn't talk much. He's kind of like, you know, monosyllabic, you know, like yes, no, and in a very soft tone. But he's a fabulous musician. Great, one of the best in the world. I think he's a genius. I think he's a genius. I love to work with him. You know, once I read in the Rolling Stone that he said he had, you know, respect for me. Respect for me? You know, I couldn't believe it. He put me, I was in the same sentence as Joni Mitchell, and that's like, wow, I was really impressed. So I sort of like try to send him little messages, too, that I would love to, you know. He loves to work with women, and he always writes them great songs. And he always, Sheena Easton, he did
He should have given you Sugar Walls.
Maybe not that one.
Oh, okay.
No. I'm a little, no. Not age appropriate, dear.
I was talking to I was talking in the monologue.
Although my gynecologist did tell me I had the insides of a 22-year-old. He did tell me that. He did tell me that. He did tell me that. He did. This is very private business, but I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was really wonderful because I'm trying to have another baby, you know, and I'm not a spring chicken. But see, I read in the I've been reading up on older women having babies, and I already had one child, but I'd like to have another one. So I went, and he told me that, and I thought, wow, let's get to it. Husband.
I don't know how to respond to that.
No, that's all right. I'm just telling you my private business.
In the monologue, I was looking for Lionel Richie in the Waldo photo, and when you look in crowds, you find the most interesting things. Sandy, blow this up. Let them see. Look in this. There's you and LaToya holding hands.
You're so mean to her.
Where's Bette?
I had red hair. I have to see this hairdo. My goodness me, and I was chubby. But I was into it. You know, Bruce Springsteen was standing next to me, and they moved him.
What?
They moved him into the middle so he could be with all the really hot people, the people who were selling records that year. I was like, I don't know why they invited me. I mean, I was touched and everything, but I was definitely on the wrong side of the... Well, I was standing next to LaToya, you know. I'm sorry. I don't even know her. She was very nice to me. I have to say she was very nice to me, and I don't really dish. I don't like to dump on other performers. She hardly ever performs, right?
Well...
I mean, I don't really know. I'm sorry. I'm no. I don't like to dump. You must. I like her. I mean, I like her. I don't like to be mean to people. I really don't. I mean, I used to when I was younger. I was bitter, and so what was I so bitter about? I was so mean to everybody.
Were you bitter when you were young?
I was bitter, and I was so, I don't know, I guess I wanted it immediately. I was, you know, really selfish. I was a child of my generation. I wanted it all now. And you get a, have some life experience, and you realize you meet them on the way up, you meet them on the way down.
Now, when you talk about...
I'll be there soon, LaToya.
When you talk about a period when you were mean, now, you're talking about the bathhouse period?
No, well, I think a lot of, I was very mean in those days. I had a reputation as having a really foul mouth, and I guess I did push a lot of people. I still have that reputation. You don't know how to tell me, right? I think of myself as a real goody two-shoes, and everyone else thinks like I'm this real hellraiser. Anyway, yeah, I was mean, and in retrospect, I shouldn't have been quite so mean. Because it doesn't serve any purpose. You see all this. This is not the thing to say on a festive occasion like this, but people do, in our country, over the last few years, we've really gotten very, very down. I mean, we're always looking at people's, laundry, and it didn't used to be that way, and now we do it so much more than we ever did. It's kind of, I don't think all of life should be that. Let's move on.
Okay. I was wondering, I have a very young demographic. How many know what bathhouses were? A few?
Maybe your demographic isn't so young, babe.
Well, half clapped and half didn't. Because I'll be honest with you. I asked somebody today, I said, I always hear about starting in the bathhouses. Mm-hmm. What are those?
Well, oh, I'm sorry. What was the question again? I've been answering this question for 20 years.
But I've only been in the business 3.
Well, in the late 60s, the late 60s, I think it was, in New York, there was this phenomenon of a health club. It was a gay health club. Mm-hmm. And there were a number of them. They were a combination gymnasiums and swimming pools and saunas and all that sort of thing. And then they had little rooms in the back where there was a tremendous amount of socializing, which I actually never saw or participated in. But this one guy, I'm being euphemistic here. This one guy had this great idea that he would have entertainment at his spa because he thought they were worthy of it or something like that. And so he sent someone out to find entertainers, and I was working at Bud Friedman's place, the Improv in those days, and Bud was my manager. And this job paid $300 for 2 nights, and this was the most money I had ever earned in my life up till that time. And I said, oh, absolutely. And when I came down the steps, I'll never forget as long as I live, came down the steps, it was a big open space with a floor very much like this, with a crowd very much like this. No. It was all men, all male, and they were all naked except that they were all wearing towels around their genitals. And I don't know, I used to tell a story to people, and people used to think, what was that like? But to me, it was just normal. To me, it was like, it was a job. It was just what you did. You didn't think twice about it, And I went out, and they were, was Barry the first? Did I work with Barry the first time? I think I did work. The first time I worked was with Barry Manilow. And he didn't have much. We had these rehearsals that were very kind of grim, and he didn't really know what it was that I did. And when I came out of my dressing room, sort of in drag, he just went like, and he had the best time of his life, and I had the best time of my life too. And these guys just sort of made a star out of me after that. They loved me. I was hilariously funny. They made me be funny when I hadn't been funny before. I'd been a torch singer. Yeah. And I wanted to be a torch singer or a blues singer or a soul singer. This was like the end of that whole era. And he made me be funny. Those guys made me be funny. And I turned into what I am today. Look at this success. This raging success.
Oh. See, I've only been talking to people on this couch for 3 years, and I never knew what entertainment at a bathhouse was. People in towels.
People in towels, yes, they were quite naked. And I never actually saw, I never actually saw a penis. Although I was looking very hard. They were very kind to me. They never let me see anything. They, you know, whatever they did on their own. And I think they knew I was kind of a baby at the whole thing. I was very, you know, naive. But I had a ball. I sang some awful songs. I told some terrible jokes. I mean, sorry. I mean, I really did have a lot of fun.
You talked about blues. Linda Hopkins, who is a blues gospel singer.
Yes, I met her in the late 60s. She was in Pearly Victorious. And my best friend was the hairdresser on that show. And she used to drag me up to Harlem to hear her sing in her choir. Yeah. And I fell in love with gospel music, and I went to see everybody. Rhythm and blues, too, was a very big part of my life in those days. I used to go see, I went to Queens. I sat on the floor to see Ike and Tina Turner when they were together with the Ikeettes, and I used to see...
You love Aretha?
Oh, I worshipped Aretha. Oh, she gave me the stink eye one time. Oh, it was so awful. I loved her so much. Oh, I mean, I worshipped Aretha Franklin. I mean, I worshipped her. I was on her label. I was on Atlantic, and I remained the oldest living artist on Atlantic. I swear to God, I've been there 20 years, and it's all her fault. I swear, because I loved her so much, and I went to see her one night. I schlepped out to Cherry Hill in Philly. Jersey, yeah, right, to see her, and I guess I don't know, she thought I was a joke or a jerk or some au fait or something like that. And she was kind of chilly to me, and I sobbed all the way home. However, I'm still on that label, and she's gone, so. Oh, I loved her. I still love her. I loved her. I went out to the Hyatt House to see Bobby Blue Bland. That was a real eye-opener. You ever seen Bobby Blue Bland?
No,
Have you ever seen him work the room? He is amazing. He's amazing.
A blues singer.
He's a blues singer. He's a great blues singer, but he's also just a rhythm blues singer, not blues, you know, that kind of blues, but later. And he stands and women come to him and put money in his pockets. I said, I got to figure out how this guy is doing that. This would be great in an act, really.
Yes, it would.
They love him so much. They love him so much.
I have to maybe go see him
see
work.
Bobby Blue Bland.
Maybe it's that thing. I've heard him sing. He does it.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
he
maybe
does.
That's it. Maybe after every joke, I have to say, yeah, you know, and there's $1. Okay, you're gonna do another song, and when you all leave here. When you all leave here, go check out the movie because it's getting real good reviews, and I'm gonna go check it out myself tonight.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with Bette Midler.